Right now, in your intestines, there are between 2 to 5 kilos of undigested food. Some of my patients have even had 8 kilos. This isn't just dirt, it's poison. Poison that returns to your bloodstream every 40 minutes. And the scariest part is that most people think they're perfectly and completely healthy. Talking about exactly these people is the hardest thing for me. I've been seeing patients for 20 years, and every single time a patient comes to me with fatigue, dull skin, or fluctuating blood pressure that goes up and down for no reason, the first thing I ask isn't about their heart. It's not about their thyroid either. I ask, when was the last time you properly went to the bathroom? And do you know what happens next? The person gets embarrassed because their answer is this: 3 days ago. This is the first point I want you to remember. An adult's intestine is between 8 to 12 meters long, 12 meters of tubing that everything you eat passes through. And if this movement slows down, which for most people after the age of 50, it really does slow down, what's inside it starts to stay there. It starts to rot. And the difference from food that just sits around is that it's not food sitting in a fridge. It's you yourself who is rotting from the inside. When food stays in the intestines for more than 24 hours, a process begins that doctors call self-poisoning. That means the body is poisoning itself. Decomposition substances like ammonia, indole, and scatole are absorbed through the intestinal wall and go directly into the bloodstream every 40 minutes. And this blood goes to your brain, your heart, your skin. You think you have migraines? Maybe your blood is poisoned. You think your fatigue is because of your age? Maybe your intestine is working like a swampy river. One of my patients, age 63, had suffered chronic fatigue for 7 years. He had gone to a cardiologist, a neurologist, an endocrinologist. They all said, well, it's just age. When he came to me, I just looked at his tongue, a white coating from the back to the tip. Right then, I realized the problem wasn't age, it was his intestine. 3 weeks later, he wrote to me, I had forgotten what it felt like to be alive, and now I found it again. But here's something important. Anything that's called a cleanse isn't really a cleanse. Some methods are actually the exact opposite, and the most common one that millions of people use is taking laxatives. I'll explain it to you now because there's a point in it that really shocks my patients. Let me tell you how laxatives work. No matter what type it is, senna, bisacodyl, or picosulfate, these stimulate the intestinal wall and basically force it to contract intensely to push out any leftover food or substances. The intestine doesn't do this because it's been cleaned. It does this because it's been irritated. It's like when you hit someone in the side and they instinctively bend over. After that, the intestine becomes depleted of energy. The nerve endings in its wall, which number in the millions, temporarily become numb. The next day, it works even worse than before. The person waits a day or two, then goes back to taking the pills again. The dose increases and then increases even more. After 6 months, without the pills, it doesn't work at all. This is called intestinal drug dependency, and it's not rare at all. I see it every week in the hospital. Now, I'm not saying that enemas are completely bad. In some situations, they're really necessary. But when you do it suddenly, for example, once or twice a week as a preventive measure, that's when this happens. The water doesn't just wash away the leftover material. It also destroys the mucus layer that lines the inside of the intestine. This layer is a defensive barrier. Without it, the bacteria that are supposed to be in the intestinal space start sticking to the walls. This causes inflammation. Slow, chronic, and silent. I had a patient who was 68 years old. He was a retired military man and a very disciplined person. For 4 years, he did an enema every 10 days, thinking he was taking care of himself. When he came to me with lower abdominal pain and constant bloating, the test showed he had severe dysbiosis. He had almost no beneficial bacteria left. He had destroyed with his own hands the very thing he was supposed to protect. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you so you understand something important. You shouldn't attack the gut forcefully. You need to support it because it has its own cleansing system. A natural, inherent system that works every night while you sleep. And this is where the interesting part begins. This system is called the Migrating Motor Complex. The name sounds complicated, but it's actually very simple. When your stomach is empty and you're not eating anything, a strong wave of contractions moves from the beginning to the end of the intestine. It's like a sweeping wave that gathers everything from the walls. Leftover food, excess mucus, bacterial layers. Exactly like a cleaner who comes at night when everyone has gone home. But where's the problem? This cleaner only works under a specific condition. The stomach has to be empty. As soon as you eat something, even something small, even a biscuit or tea, this wave stops. The body shifts to digestion, the cleaners leave, and only 90 minutes after the stomach is empty do they come back. Now, let's do the math together. You have dinner at 8 o'clock, and it's a big meal. Soup, main course, bread. It takes the stomach about 4 or 5 hours to digest it, so it gets empty around 1 in the morning. But at 7 in the morning, you have breakfast. That means the cleaner only had 6 hours. Not bad. But if you have dinner at 10 at night, which a lot of people do, the stomach only gets empty at 3 in the morning. There are only 4 hours left until breakfast. And what if you eat something at 11 too? Basically, there's no nightly cleaning happening at all. This is what prevents the cleansing process. Not illness, not age. Just a late night snack. I've been telling this to my patients for years, one by one in my office. Now I'm saying it here because I wanted to reach those who haven't gone to the doctor yet. So the first rule is that your last meal should be no later than 6 or 7 in the evening. But that's not enough on its own. The gut needs water, and not just any kind of water. Water at the right time, the right temperature, and the right amount. Because if you drink it wrong, it's like rain falling on dry ground. It doesn't get absorbed, it just passes through. Let's start with temperature. Cold water is bad for the gut. When you drink a glass of cold water, especially in the morning, your gut reflexively contracts, the blood vessels constrict, blood flow decreases, and bowel movements slow down. You think you're helping yourself, but in reality, you're actually slowing down your gut system. Warm water, around 40 to 45 degrees, works the opposite way. It relaxes the gut muscles, increases blood flow, and basically softens whatever is left inside. A glass of warm water on an empty stomach in the morning usually gets the bowels moving within 20 to 30 minutes. This isn't a myth, it's physiological. Now about the amount. A 70-kilogram person should drink about 30 milliliters of water per kilogram of body weight per day, which means more than 2 liters. And that's under normal conditions. After the age of 50, the sensation of thirst decreases, and this is a scientific fact. The signal that tells the brain, I need water, becomes weaker. The person isn't thirsty, but their intestines are like dried up soil. Everything hardens and slows, and toxins accumulate. One 61-year-old patient, a strong, active man, had been constipated for 3 years. He drank plenty of tea, coffee, and compote. I told him, write down what you eat for a week. It turned out to be 800 milliliters a day, less than a liter, while it should be over 2 liters by now. We didn't change his diet. No pills given. We just fixed his water intake. 1 glass in the morning on an empty stomach, 1 glass half an hour before each meal, and between meals if needed. 2 weeks later, he called and said, is it really that simple? It is not always the case, but sometimes it is. But water is just the starting foundation for a truly deep cleanse to actually happen overnight. You need one more thing, and the first one is probably already in your kitchen right now. It's not something strange or exotic, nor is it an expensive superfood, dried plums or prunes. Some might think, that's old-fashioned. Everyone knows them. Yeah, they know. But nearly every single person uses it in the wrong way. Let me tell you why prunes work. First, it contains sorbitol, a type of natural sugar that is not fully digested and draws water into the intestines. Softens the content without irritation and naturally. Second, it contains a substance that gently stimulates intestinal contractions. Not a hit. A small cardamom. Third, fiber, both soluble and insoluble fiber, which act like a natural brush. 3 mechanisms at the same time. No medicinal laxative has such a combination without side effects. But what mistake do people make? They eat it during the day or in the morning with food. The result is weak, unpredictable, or nothing at all. Why? Because for nightly cleansing, it needs to be consumed in a specific way and at a specific time. What is the correct method? What is the correct method? In the evening, around 6 or 7 o'clock, you put 5 or 6 pitted prunes in a glass of warm water. It shouldn't be boiling. Let it sit for 2 or 3 hours. The nutrients go into the water. Before bed, around 9 or 10, you drink the water and eat the prunes as well. Then, with no more food, your stomach stays empty and gentle stimulation occurs. In the morning, most feel the urge to go about 30 minutes after waking. I had a 58-year-old patient with 10 years of constipation. I told him to try prunes and he looked at me skeptically. He said, "Just prunes?" I said, "Yes, but the right way." On the third day, he just sent me a message. It worked. But prunes are just the beginning. You'll probably eat the second one too, but that's a mistake. Flaxseed is one of the strongest natural prebiotics. Inside it, there's a mucilaginous substance that, when released, coats the intestinal walls like velvet. It protects, softens, creates an environment for good bacteria, and also acts as a mild laxative. But what's its drawback? It is actually released only when the seed is crushed or completely soaked in water. A whole seed just passes through without any effect. That's why people who put whole seeds in yogurt are basically wasting their money. So what's the right way to use it? Either grind it right at the moment you want to use it, not beforehand because it will spoil. Eat 2 tablespoons or soak it overnight. In the morning, eat that jelly-like liquid on an empty stomach. The texture might feel strange like jelly, but its effect is excellent. I had a patient with severe bloating who, after 10 days of consuming soaked flaxseed, said that for the first time his stomach stayed flat because his intestines finally got what they needed: protection and smooth movement. And now the third one, which might surprise you, is kefir. Just regular kefir. It's neither harmful nor bad. Of course, if you know when to consume it. A lot of people say to have it at night before bed. That's the mistake. Why? Because stomach acid destroys most of its bacteria, and the stomach is no longer empty. Nighttime cleansing is interrupted. The right time is in the morning, but not immediately. First, drink warm water, wait 20 to 30 minutes, then have kefir at room temperature. After that, you can have breakfast 30 minutes later. This way, the bacteria reach the intestines alive. There's also an important point. Fresh kefir that's only 1 day old acts as a laxative. Kefir that's 3 days old, on the contrary, causes constipation. This is real. It's because of changes in the bacteria and acidity. I had a patient who drank kefir every night. It had no effect at all. We just changed the timing. In the morning, everything changed. So now you have 3 tools: prunes at night, flaxseed in the morning, kefir in the morning. But the story isn't just about food. There are even more important things that often aren't mentioned at all. There are things that gastroenterologists usually don't tell you in their offices. It's not that it's a secret, it's just that they don't prescribe it. It's about your body's condition, how you sleep at night, how you get up in the morning, and a simple movement that takes 2 minutes but is more effective than any pill. Let's start with sleep. Most people sleep on their back or on their right side. It's comfortable, but it's not the best position for your intestines. The large intestine goes up the right side of your abdomen, then crosses over, and then goes down the left side. When you sleep on your left side, the descending part is positioned lower. Gravity works in your favor. The contents naturally move toward the exit. But if you sleep on your right side, it's the opposite. Movement becomes harder and slower, and that nightly cleaner only does half the job. Let me tell you a simple experiment to try. For 3 nights, sleep only on your left side, even without prunes, flaxseed, or kefir. Many people say that after 2 nights, their morning bowel movement becomes easier because physics does its job even while you sleep. Now you've woken up in the morning. Do something important. Don't get up quickly. Lie on your back, bring your knees toward your chest, and hold them with your hands. Hold this position for 30 seconds, then slowly release. Repeat this movement 3 times. This movement does 2 things. First, it massages the large intestine from the outside. Second, it activates an important reflex that causes the intestine to start moving. So even though you haven't gotten out of bed yet, your intestine wakes up. After that, take a deep abdominal breath and place your hand on your stomach. Inhale deeply through your nose so that your stomach rises, not your chest. Hold it for 3 seconds. Slowly exhale through your mouth. Repeat this movement 8 to 10 times. With each breath, the diaphragm moves downward and actually massages the intestine from above. This is not a metaphor. It's real because it's located right next to the intestine. Now, there's something that people usually don't talk about, but it's very important. It's your sitting posture in the bathroom. Most people sit upright at a 90-degree angle. Anatomically, that's incorrect. There's a muscle that in this position closes off the exit. But the natural position for the human body is squatting. In that position, everything relaxes and the passage straightens. So, what's the solution? Place a footstool about 20 to 25 centimeters high under your feet and the angle will be correct. Many people only then realize what a natural bowel movement actually is. I had a patient once. As a logical engineer, when I told him this, he said it's absurd. A week later, he called, "You were right. It worked." Why wasn't I told sooner? Because no one prescribes it for you. Now let's turn all of this into a precise step-by-step program. 6 p.m. is the last meal of the day. No snacks, a complete but light dinner without heavy meats, without too much fat. For example, vegetables, a bit of grains, steamed fish, and no bread or sweets either. The goal is for your stomach to be empty by 10 or 11 at night. At 6:30, prepare the prunes. Soak 5 or 6 pitted prunes in a glass of warm water and let them sit for 2 to 3 hours. From 7 to 9 p.m., don't eat any snacks. Only drink warm water or unsweetened herbal tea like chamomile or mint. If you want, you can also take a light 30-minute walk. It stimulates bowel movement. At 9 p.m., drink the prune water. From this point on, only warm water, no more food. Between 9:30 and 10 p.m., get ready for bed. Take a few deep abdominal breaths. Go to sleep at 10 p.m. Lie on your left side and if it's comfortable, place a pillow between your knees. Wake up between 6 and 7 in the morning. But don't jump up suddenly. Do the knee to chest movement 3 times just like before. Then get up. Before doing anything else, drink a glass of warm water at 40 to 45 degrees and drink it slowly. Wait for 20 minutes. In the meantime, prepare flaxseed. Either you soaked it the night before or you want to grind it right then. 30 minutes later, have room temperature kefir, and right after that, go to the bathroom with a footstool. Don't rush and don't strain yourself. If it doesn't happen right away, it usually will within the next hour. There's an important point. This method doesn't work the same for everyone. If you have a specific illness like Crohn's, colitis, or IBS, talk to your doctor first, but for most people it works. One of my patients said after just one day, "I feel 10 kilos lighter." That's not an exaggeration. Some people actually lose 2 or 3 kilos because things that have been stuck for years finally come out. But what's the most important point? This is just the beginning, not the end. If you go back to your old habits the next day, everything will return in 3 or 4 days. So you have to keep going. Always have an early dinner. Always drink warm water in the morning. Eat flaxseed or plums a few times a week. Kefir every morning. Always use a footstool. And what's another important mistake? Celebrating your first success with a heavy meal is wrong. A freshly cleansed intestine is sensitive. Heavy food puts a lot of pressure on it. On the first day, you should eat light. Second, thinking once is enough is a mistake. It's a deep clean, but you must maintain it. Third, don't only focus on bowel movements. The gut is more than elimination. Immunity, skin, mood, energy, 90% of serotonin, that good feeling, is produced in the gut. When your gut works properly, the first thing you notice isn't just that it's easier to go to the bathroom. You'll notice your mind is clearer, you get tired less easily, your skin looks better, and you feel better overall. That same first patient after a month said, "I thought it was just my age, but it was only that my gut was dirty." This is the most important thing you need to remember. Your body doesn't fall apart after 50. It just doesn't get what it needs. The right timing, the right water, the right food, the right state, give it these things and it will respond. Not after a year, sometimes even the very next day. If you found this helpful, give it a like. Not for me, but so this video reaches more people and others can see it too. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Every week I talk about things that doctors don't have time to mention. Thank you for staying with me until the end of the video. Watch these videos for more information. Until the next video, take care.